Ladies and gentlemen, it is your General, General Greene, Operation Black Crow. June 16th, 2025, and everything you're hearing from the mainstream media about a peace deal is a lie. An absolute lie. I'm going to break down this emergency news, and of course, you're going to share it vividly all across the internet, across socials, to critical thinking minds worldwide. More importantly, you are going to prepare for the coming big events. The big one has not even hit yet. Israel will be going for a full catastrophic Iranian regime change in the coming hours. Benjamin Netanyahu will not back down. We've had a couple extraordinary developments in the last few minutes. The USS Nimitz, which is set actually to be decommissioned, I believe, within a year, very interesting, is now being positioned as a sitting duck in the Middle East, what I believe to be a decoy. Imminent strikes on Tehran are incoming, in my opinion. And I believe that the United States of America and the West will suffer the cyber event that the elites all too worryingly warned us about in 2020 as a guarantee during their lockdowns. You'll notice that Bitcoin is proving itself, my long-standing prediction, as the #1 safe haven asset in the world. Today, rising 3% to 108,000 USD equivalent. On its way to break new incoming records with a shocking market cap of $2.1 trillion, well exceeding some of the largest big tech giants in the world. And also, what I believe to be incredibly notable by one of the world's most powerful men, Elon Musk, is his stark, sudden silence. The provocateur who always has something to say, who even just a week ago called for the aggressive impeachment and removal of Donald John Trump, but also said he was on the Epstein list, who has never failed to interject into controversy or American politics, is suddenly mute, silent, no commentary on Iran. The most biblically oriented event in arguably a century. Gog and Magog, what we are warned about, will bring in the next world war. Silence. I believe that every ticking second and minute of Elon Musk's silence only confirms why his breakup with Trump was pre-planned, organized, and carried through over the last week. That is that I believe Elon has been debriefed in such dangerous information that he wanted to distance himself as much as possible from Donald Trump before the outbreak of war. Notate, I predicted the first Israeli strike on Iran within hours. Predicted it within months. June 14th, the militarization of the United States. No King's Day. The attack on Iran. Now, I predict this. You'll notice that other leading, once 100% MAGA backing figures that come from the mainstream media like Tucker Carlson have suddenly broken away from Donald Trump. They're actually criticizing him over the Iran war, saying things like this will be the end of MAGA, the end of his presidency, and, quote, the end of the U.S. empire. But the question is, why, Tucker? Why would Tucker, the formerly mainstream media for multiple decades, his father deeply integrated in the CIA and Central Intelligence agencies, suddenly break from Donald Trump? Very easy to understand, ladies and gentlemen. The deep state must form silos and always control the opposition. As the war in Iran rages and the United States supposedly unwillingly gets dragged in like the Godfather, right? Trump didn't start it. He's the peace president. But because Israel attacked, and then there's a counterstrike, and then there's a false event, and then the grid goes down and the SOS text messages hit, God forbid, every single American cell phone, well, then he'll be reluctantly forced in to the war that, of course, he never wanted, to still declare himself the peace president as World War III rages. And what's important to know, that although Elon Musk has gone silent on the greatest conflict of our day and age and civilization's biblical history, he has not gone silent on the collapse of the US dollar, the debt, and the ticking time BOMB that makes up the US bond market. In fact, Elon Musk tweeted just moments ago a chart of the imminent collapse of the United States financial system, saying this as I'm looking for it now, responding to a parabolic chart, answering the question, how did we arrive at a point in this country where 25% of all tax revenue goes to just paying the interest and $37 trillion in government debt? By the way, the money spent on this new Iranian conflict will guarantee the collapse of the US dollar. Trust this plan and the inevitable reset that I have predicted for multiple decades, and the cementation of Bitcoin as the world reserve currency. Elon responds, quote, if this continues, America goes de facto bankrupt, and all tax revenue will go to paying interest on the national debt, with nothing left for anything else. As Pakistan now promises that it will involve itself in this war to back its ally Iran, and as Vladimir Putin postures not only his troops, but his hypersonics along with China, and what I believe will be their imminent strike on Taiwan, a global conflagration and world war we have predicted for multiple decades, a biblical event, Gog and Magog, and the end times prophecy being fulfilled. Elon Musk also posted a very sinister image last night titled, "No Gods or Kings, Only Man." No gods or kings, only man. The exact definition of the Antichrist. A worship of no God, but the worship of self and man. These metaphors echoes throughout our history, as it is made today. And as Tucker Carlson warns, the very empire here in the United States of America is under attack. Folks, I warned you yesterday in a very eloquent video that, of course, the new republic and the new United States will look nothing like the old. That this is a new empire build that will include Canada, Greenland, the Panama Canal, and an entirely new city-state technological infrastructure governed by an AI god. OpenAI, Grok, ChatGPT, Google's equivalent, Facebook's developments of wearables, brain chips, laces, and even a new government political structure and third party that Elon Musk is calling for that I believe will be led by artificial intelligence. A new system of government and power. A new army. COG. Continuity of government. Ladies and gentlemen, $17.76. This is it. Operation Black Crow has been activated. USS Nimitz nuclear destroyer is now a sitting duck. Cyber events are imminent. Massive counter strikes. Tehran, Israel, and the United States pulled into the war imminently. I read a comment earlier today, and I would like to leave you on this. Someone on X said, to all who are calling for World War III, if there were even a 50% chance, then the S&P 500 wouldn't be 2% away from a new all-time high. They say, in fact, the S&P 500 would be down over 30%. Gold would be above $5,000 an ounce, and oil prices would be above $100 a barrel. And I respond in the biblical word. Luke 17, verses 28 through 30. English Standard Version. Quote, likewise, just as it was in the days of Lot, they were eating and drinking, buying and selling, planting and building. But on the day when Lot went out from Sodom, fire and sulfur rained from heaven and destroyed them all. So will it be on the day when the Son of Man is revealed. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your time to prepare to exit the banks. Your life, your safety truly does depend on it. This is the U.S. pre-planned dollar collapse reset being ushered in now. You are being deceived when they declare peace. It means war. The allied nations are going for a full regime change in Iran, and Tehran is under attack. Massive missile strikes will commence in the coming hours, days, and weeks. And I believe that the United States will get its event that we've warned about. You have to remember that moving the population's minds in a very predictively programmed way into the next series of events will be very, very important for their compliance. Nothing will stoke more fear in the hearts and minds of the American sheep than war. Their cell phones, which now control most of their lives, media, and news, and the breakaway silos of Tucker and others meant to control the opposition as World War breaks out. Again, there will be factions breaking apart. Those that will follow Tucker and the anti-war rhetoric, all planned, all by design. Those that only solely back Trump, America first, and 5D chess operations. And then those of us, the remnant, that can critically think for ourselves and know the evil cabals every inch of their next step. My intel, ladies and gentlemen, is #1 in the world for a reason. And it's why I could predict the strike on Iran and why I'm predicting all of this now. Operation Black Crow. Operation Black Crow. Click the links below now. Visit us, islandproject.com. Call or text my data, 808-442-2934. Add your positions. Exit the banks into a real-world asset. Before the bank runs, before the darkness, before the SOS alerts, before what is an imminent conflagration in the Middle East that will escalate and bring in and encumber a world conflict war event. It doesn't stop here, guys. Remember, 2 weeks to flatten the curve lasted a bold and hard-hitting and in-your-face almost 3 years. So if you think the regime, military shift and change of the ancient nation of Persia and 100 million Iranians will just happen smoothly overnight, you've got something hard-hitting and in your face coming. A hyperinflationary collapse is ahead. And the digital Noah's Ark was built for this precise moment. I am General Greene, and this is an SOS warning. June 16th. June 16th. June 16th.